With Christmas just around the corner, we're going to be straying away from the Asian dish and go to England to create their popular side dish, Yorkshire Pudding. Here are the ingredients we're going to need for this dish. We're going to need 4 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of flour, a pinch of salt. Then we're going to be using either oil, butter, or best yet, fat drippings from your roast beef or your roasted turkey, because that's what's going to be flavoring this dish. Traditionally, this is cooked with roast beef, so you can use all the drippings to create this. But if you're not making any of them, I can either just use oil or butter. In this case, I'm going to be just using oil. First thing we're going to do is create our batter. Also for this dish, we're going to be using the large muffin tins. Don't use the small ones. In a large bowl, we place our 4 eggs. We're going to add in a 1 cup of milk and a pinch of salt. Then whisk well until well combined. Next thing we're going to add in is 1 cup of flour. Make sure you strain it or sift it so that it's nice and airy. Also prevent clumps from getting in there. So that's good. Stir them again. Pretty much what you're gonna get out of this is a nice batter, kind of like a pancake batter or a pancake mix. So pretty much just like that. And then what we're gonna do is put it in a measuring cup where you have that little nozzle, so it's easier to pour in the batter later. So I'm gonna use what I already used, which was the liquid measuring cup. We're gonna leave it in the fridge for about a few hours to settle. So we're getting ready to bake. We pulled our batter out of the fridge. Again, we're gonna be needing the larger tins. Don't use the cupcake tins or the muffin tins because they're too small. So we're gonna use this, and we're gonna use a baking sheet underneath it to catch all the oil that overflows from it. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set our temperature to 375. And let's just wait for that to heat up. As that's preheating, we're going to be adding in our fat or our oil into the tins. Now, traditionally, you would be using beef drippings from your roast beef or prime rib, or drippings from your turkey, or anything you're roasting pretty much. But if you don't have those and you're just making this by itself, you can also just use butter, a high smoke point oil. So I'm going to be using canola oil on this, and we're going to be adding in a couple of tablespoons on just the front too. I filled up 1/3 of its size with the oil. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna distribute that into the other tins. So what I usually do, you kind of just like evenly, it will gradually pour in evenly on all tins. Then that will give you enough oil for all of them. So now what we're gonna do is, we're gonna place this in our oven, let the oil heat up. What it's gonna do is, as we're putting in the batter, it will instantly cook that batter before you even put it in the oven. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna place it in our oven. Now we're gonna leave it there for 20 minutes for that oil to heat up. Then we're gonna put in our batter. At this point, the oil should be very hot. So be careful when you're doing this. Also, once we start doing this, make sure you pour in the batter quick and put it back in the oven. So time is essential on this one. So first we're gonna pull out our tins. Again, be very careful, it's very hot. Now we're gonna slowly pour in our batter. So as you're putting in the batter, you can hear it sizzle and it's starting to cook right away. Fill it up 3/4 of the way up, because they will rise, and you gotta make sure you have plenty of room for it to rise. Now we're gonna quickly put it back in the oven and cook it for 20 minutes. So we're gonna cook it for 20 minutes. And as you're doing this, make sure you don't open up the oven or take a peek, because it's gonna need that heat to help it rise. You can't quite see, but they're rising quite well on the side. All right, it's been 20 minutes. Let's go get our Yorkshire pudding. Oh, look at that. That's why you need an extra pan underneath, because of that oil. It's overflowing. Now, as you leave it outside, of course, it's gonna start to deflate. If you want it a little more on the toasty side or crispy side, you can leave it for another 5 minutes. But for me, this is perfect like this. Also, for you that don't know, this is gonna be a dense bread. It's pretty heavy, so what its purpose is to kind of like fill you up while you're eating your meal. Kind of like a rice in Asian cuisine. So anyways, we're just gonna plate these, and I'll show you different ways of eating them. So when you serve this, usually there's like a crater in the middle. This one kind of closed up. So usually you serve it as is, or you can add in gravy on top of it. But if you want to impress your guest, usually what some people do, you can use cold cuts and some kind of a sauce to fill in those craters in the inside, in the middle. So for this one, let's make an example for this. I don't have roast beef to put in, but I do have, well, let's try with prosciutto. So, or if you have roast beef, a slice of a deli roast beef, that'd be great. So I would put in some horseradish, and then you can put in the roast beef on top. Since we don't have roast beef, let's try the prosciutto instead. Technically, there's a hole there, so it's supposed to stand up like that, but I mean, you get the idea. It's a pretty good dish. It's mild because it's just pretty much a bread. Give it a try. You can add in also some sugar to make it a little sweet, or more salt to make it more savory. Yeah, give this dish a try, and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.